OK, girls, continuing our look into what women have been saying about other women this week, it's time to turn our attention to Janet Street Porter's column in the Daily Mail. In reaction to not only Gabby Logan's alleged tantrum at Eurostar, which he later laughed off, and the furore surrounding alleged angry outbursts by PM Gordon Brown, she argues that it's more socially acceptable for men to get angry. She says, when I was in charge and lost my temper, I was called crazy by my critics. But when men behave in this fashion, they're described as forceful or opinionated. We accept anger in men far more readily than in women. So do you think she's right? Are you more wary of a woman if you see her getting angry than a man?
Well, I think it's a very scary thing when women lose their temper, only because I just think it's... When they do, there's usually much more behind it than just having a good old row. And, you know, like, men are quite simple creatures, aren't they? They are, though. Yes, but you know what I mean? They have an argument, it's either biff, baff, bum, bum. But women are so kind of taken up with everything else that once... I know, with me, I could actually lift a car. I could lift a car and throw a car.
Yeah.
So there's much more going on with women when they lose their temper, and I think it's a little bit more scary than men. I don't mean in the fact that I know men are very physical and that they're stronger than us, but I mean mentally. I think it frightens me when women lose their temper.
I find it the opposite, actually, because I think women are much more emotive generally and more open about their feelings. So I would find it a lot easier to handle a woman getting in a rage or in a state about something or aggressive than a man. I think there's nothing scarier than a bloke that's angry with you because of the physical presence and aggression. And I've been on the receiving end of male bullying, you know, and there's nothing more terrifying, especially in the workplace, for example. You know, it's just... I find it far worse than women. I really do.
I mean, I think what Janet was sort of touching on there is the element of sometimes you feel that a woman maybe loses control because, you know, it's I'm not saying that all women are like this, but it's said, you know, that when a woman loses her temper, she's not just arguing with you about this point right here. She's going to bring up what you did 6 months ago and a year ago, and by the way, and you did this, and so you feel like a woman's lost control more. Do you think that's right, Joy?
I think that's true, actually, because I must admit, when I lose my temper, I do have a red mist, and I do actually get very... and I can't bring it back. I can't control it and bring it back. That's what I mean by being scary.
Yeah, no, it is. I think when we go. I'm very, very calm in life. When I lose my temper, I do lose it quite badly. But I think I'm not intimidated by men and their temper because I'm used to it like you. I've had it, you know, a lot in over the years. But I think I'd react with a woman losing her temper with me. I'd say, why are you getting angry? Why? I'd react different. And a man in the street the other day lost his temper with me because my dog ran off, who's, like, pathetic. And he was obviously in a very bad mood and was so angry with me. And my reaction was anger back. I'm like, don't you talk to me like... I mean, I lost it, but I perhaps wouldn't have reacted the same way to a woman. I would have maybe calmed the situation. But I mean, everybody gets angry, and it's OK to get angry as long as it's not physical. I think it's OK to express.
But how do you think that... What do you make of, you know, Janet's argument that it's rather more frowned upon for a woman to lose her temper in public? I mean, do you worry about losing your temper or how you're seen?
I hate it when I lose my temper, and I think it's... When a woman loses her temper, it can be really ugly. I hate myself when I lose my temper, and I do have a temper. And when Paul and I argue, I do really sometimes properly get really cross, and I never want him to see me like that, and I certainly never want my daughter to see me angry. I think it's a bit of a weakness if you totally lose it.
But I don't think there's any difference between a man losing his temper and a woman losing her temper. I don't think that you should be... you know, you should hate yourself for losing your temper. Nobody should lose it. It's exhausting, and it's, you know, it causes so much upheaval. Nobody should, but it happens, and I don't think that it should be any different whether it's a woman or a man.
Do you think that society sees it as maybe less ladylike? You know, it's allowed for a man to shout and roll and beat his chest, but not ladylike.
But to say it's frowned upon is a very old-fashioned expression. I haven't heard that for years. What, frowned upon what? I mean, because a woman can lose her temper exactly the same as a man, I don't think it matters. As long as you just said, as long as nobody gets hurt.
I've seen men let it out. Well, I think I've seen some men who rant and rave, and it's like irrespective of whether you're in the room or not, you get to the point where they're arguing and they don't even know that you're there. I mean, I think it happens the same with, you know, both sexes. I think we all give as good as we get, don't we?